Long lines of humanitarian aid trucks moved steadily through the streets of Khan Younis today, carrying food and essential supplies toward the northern Gaza Strip. Many of the vehicles bore the distinctive blue and white logo of the World Food Programme, part of a renewed push to deliver aid to areas where access has been severely restricted in recent weeks. The convoy marked one of the largest coordinated movements of relief vehicles in southern Gaza since intensified hostilities disrupted aid distribution networks earlier this month. Residents could be seen standing by the roadside watching silently as the trucks rolled past, a scene that reflected both hope and exhaustion in a city now central to humanitarian logistics across the enclave. Officials from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, confirmed that aid convoys are attempting to reach northern districts where conditions remain critical. Repeated airstrikes, fuel shortages and damaged infrastructure have made consistent access difficult, forcing agencies to reroute supplies through temporary corridors established under international supervision. The trucks seen in Khan Younis today were carrying food boxes, flour and hygiene kits, part of a broader WFP distribution plan coordinated with local partners and the Egyptian Red Crescent. According to UN officials, the deliveries are meant to replenish food stocks in northern shelters, which have been running dangerously low following weeks of disrupted supply lines. A senior WFP logistics officer described the situation as a race against time. Every day we face delays at crossing points and roadblocks from debris, the official said, but our teams are committed to ensuring that life-saving assistance continues to reach those who need it most. The visual evidence from Khan Younis showed convoys navigating narrow urban roads, some of them partially cleared of rubble. Several trucks appeared heavily loaded with stacked boxes, while others carried bulk grain supplies. UN staff noted that each convoy undergoes multiple inspections before departure to verify contents and confirm coordination between the WFP, the Palestinian Red Crescent Society, and the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA. For many in Khan Younis, the passing trucks were a reminder of the limited but vital lifeline provided by international agencies amid ongoing restrictions. Residents gathered near intersections and alleyways, some waving as the convoy moved north. Others recorded the moment on mobile phones, a familiar yet somber sight that has defined daily life in Gaza since the escalation of violence. Humanitarian context. According to UN data, more than 1.8 million Gazans remain displaced across the Strip, with Khan Younis now hosting one of the largest concentrations of internally displaced persons. Makeshift shelters have filled schools, mosques and unfinished buildings, creating severe pressure on water, sanitation and healthcare systems. In a recent briefing, UN Humanitarian Coordinator Andrea De Domenico said the agency's focus is to sustain uninterrupted aid flow to the north and centre despite persistent logistical obstacles. Fuel, security guarantees and functioning roads remain the biggest constraints, he stated, emphasising that coordination efforts continue daily with all involved parties. The World Food Programme reported that its warehouses in Gaza are now operating at reduced capacity due to fuel rationing and security restrictions. The organisation said that current stocks are sufficient for only a few days of distribution without renewed entry of supplies from Egypt through the Rafah crossing. The situation in northern Gaza, conditions in northern Gaza remain among the most severe. Health officials and aid workers have described a situation marked by food shortages, malnutrition risks and limited access to clean water. The WFP estimates that more than 60% of households in northern districts are experiencing crisis-level food insecurity, with children and elderly residents disproportionately affected. Convoys attempting to reach Gaza City and surrounding neighbourhoods often encounter damaged roads or require military coordination to ensure safe passage. Several humanitarian agencies have expressed concern that delays at crossing points are preventing adequate response to the growing humanitarian needs. A recent statement from the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, called for all sides to allow safe and unimpeded movement of humanitarian aid. Humanitarian operations must not be politicised or obstructed, the ICRC said, reiterating that all parties are obligated under international humanitarian law to facilitate aid to civilians. Coordination and oversight. Humanitarian convoys moving through Khan Younis are typically coordinated through a joint mechanism involving the United Nations, the Palestinian Authority, and Egyptian authorities at Rafah. Each vehicle is registered, inspected and tracked by satellite systems to monitor delivery routes and ensure accountability. Officials confirmed that today's convoy was part of a broader rotation involving approximately 80 trucks, including vehicles carrying medical supplies, nutritional supplements and water purification units. Smaller shipments have also been dispatched from warehouses in Rafah to central Gaza via Salah al-Din Road, one of the few main arteries still partially operational. The WFP Gaza office has emphasised that while access to northern areas is limited, aid continues to flow where possible through pre-cleared routes under strict security protocols. The agency also warned that increasing fuel scarcity threatens refrigeration and delivery operations, potentially disrupting the food cold chain for perishable goods such as dairy and medical nutrition supplements. Reactions from aid workers. Local relief coordinators in Khan Younis described the atmosphere as cautiously optimistic. People see the trucks and feel a sense of relief, one field worker said, but they also know that what arrives today will not last long. The needs are massive. Aid staff also pointed out that the presence of international convoys has provided some reassurance to displaced residents who continue to rely almost entirely on food distributions. Community leaders have been urging authorities to prioritise medical supplies and clean water, particularly in shelters where sanitation conditions have deteriorated due to overcrowding. Security conditions. Along the route, the convoy's passage through Khan Younis occurred amid a tense security environment. Witnesses reported that parts of the route were patrolled by local police and monitored by humanitarian observers. Overhead, drones were occasionally seen surveying the area, a standard precaution in the region given the ongoing volatility. While no incidents were reported during the movement, aid officials said each convoy requires several days of planning, route verification and deconfliction. Any deviation from planned routes risks delays or exposure to areas deemed unsafe. The UN Security Council has repeatedly stressed the importance of ensuring safe corridors for aid distribution. In a statement earlier this week, Council members reaffirmed support for humanitarian principles, urging all actors to uphold their obligations to protect civilians and allow life-saving aid to reach all parts of Gaza's broader international response. The arrival of WFP convoys in Khan Younis coincides with renewed diplomatic efforts to scale up humanitarian assistance through both land and maritime routes. Egypt and Qatar continue to facilitate coordination for cross-border deliveries, while the United States and European Union have pledged additional funding to support logistical operations. The United States Agency for International Development, USAID, recently announced an allocation of $75 million in emergency food assistance for Gaza to be implemented through UN agencies and local partners. Similarly, the European Commission's Humanitarian Aid Office, ECHO, confirmed that it will expand air bridge operations to Egypt to accelerate aid transfers. We are working to maintain a consistent pipeline of food, medicine and shelter materials into Gaza, an EU spokesperson said. Every additional convoy means more families can eat, drink and survive another day. Logistics challenges and infrastructure damage. Gaza's road network remains one of the biggest obstacles to effective delivery. Key routes have been heavily damaged by airstrikes and debris, forcing aid trucks to take longer, less secure paths through densely populated districts. The lack of heavy machinery and fuel for clearance operations has slowed reconstruction and delivery alike. Humanitarian engineers from UNRWA have been attempting to reopen sections of the Salah al-Din corridor, a critical artery connecting the south to Gaza City, but progress has been slow. Temporary repairs using gravel and debris clearance have allowed limited passage of smaller trucks, though heavy vehicles continue to face restrictions. Electricity shortages further complicate operations. With Gaza's power plant functioning at minimal capacity, aid warehouses rely on generators that consume scarce fuel. This has forced agencies to prioritise diesel allocation between hospitals, bakeries and logistics hubs, a balance that often leaves none of the sectors fully supplied. Civilian response and daily life. For residents of Khan Younis, the sight of aid convoys has become part of daily reality. Children stand on sidewalks waving to drivers. Shopkeepers briefly pause business as the trucks roll past. Many recognise the WFP emblem as a symbol of hope amid uncertainty. Still, conversations among locals reveal deeper anxiety. Families displaced from northern towns remain unsure when or if they will be able to return home. Many rely on community kitchens supported by the WFP and Islamic Relief Worldwide, where basic meals of rice, lentils and bread are served daily. A displaced teacher sheltering with her family in a former school building told reporters, "The food helps us survive, but what we need most is safety. Every day we hope this will end." The road ahead. Humanitarian planners acknowledge that aid convoys alone cannot resolve Gaza's broader crisis. Without stable ceasefire conditions, fuel access and open crossings, delivery efforts will continue to face severe limitations. Nonetheless, organisations remain determined to maintain a lifeline through all available channels. In its latest update, the World Food Programme confirmed that it aims to deliver 2,400 metric tonnes of food across Gaza in the coming week, pending security clearance. The agency urged all sides to ensure continued humanitarian access, emphasising that even short interruptions could have catastrophic consequences for civilians already pushed to the brink. As the convoy disappeared northward from Khan Younis, the movement symbolised more than a logistical operation. It represented a fragile line of continuity for Gaza's population amid destruction and uncertainty. For now, aid agencies continue their work under constant challenge, sustaining hope through the steady passage of trucks carrying life-saving relief. The World Food Programme and United Nations agencies have reaffirmed their commitment to maintaining humanitarian deliveries across Gaza as conditions permit. The situation remains fluid, but efforts to provide food and essential supplies continue, one convoy at a time.